hadith number 39. حدثني يحيى عن مالك عن هشام بن عروة عن أبي عن عائشة أم المؤمنين أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم كان إذا اغتسل من الجنابة بدأ بغسل يديه ثم توضأ كما يتوضأ للصلاة ثم يدخل أصابعه في الماء فيخلل بها أصول شعره ثم يصب على رأسه 3 غرفات بيديه ثم يفيض الماء على جلده كله. And number 40, وحدثني عن مالك عن ابن شهاب عن عروة بن الزبير عن عائشة أم المؤمنين أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يغتسل من إناء هو الفرق من الجنابة. نعم.
How to do ghusl for major ritual impurity. Yahya related to me from Malik, from Hisham ibn Urwa, from his father, from Aisha, the mother of the believers, that whenever the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did ghusl for major ritual impurity, he would begin by washing his hands, and then do wudu as for prayer. He would then put his fingers in the water and rub the roots of his hair with them. Then he would pour as much water as 2 hands can hold onto his head 3 times, and over the entire surface of his skin. Yahya related to me from Malik, from Ibn Shihab, from Urwa ibn Azubair, from Aisha, the mother of the believers, that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do ghusl for major ritual impurity from a vessel which contained a faraq.
باب العمل في غسل الجنابة. That is how to do in the major impurity. The first hadith is that of al-muminin Aisha, that Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whenever he used to take bath from the major impurity, bada bi ghusl yadayhi, he started with washing his hands, ثم توضأ كما يتوضأ للصلاة, and then he does his wudu as he used to do wudu for the prayer. It shows that taking the bath, in taking the bath, the sunnah is to start with the wudu. And of course, first of all, as we are going to see from the other athar, that a person should try to wash himself, his private part, and after that he starts doing his wudu. ثم يدخل أصابعه في الماء ويخلل بها أصول شعره. And then another thing which is mentioned here, that is to do takhleel in the roots of his hairs. That is the other thing which is mentioned here, because that is a part of ghusl then. It's not a part of wudu. ثم يصب على رأسه 3 غرفات بيديه. And then he pours upon his head 3 handful of water. That is upon his head. And then ثم يفيض الماء على جلده كله. And then he pours water on the whole body. This is what it means. Jild actually means skins, but here it means the whole body. Now in this hadith of Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, what we have known that 2 things are mentioned. One is fard and one is sunnah. Fard is ghusl. Fard is ghusl. Because ghusl contains wudu as well. But this hadith shows that the Prophet ﷺ has done his wudu in the beginning. So it means that wudu is recommended then. Wudu is sunnah. Wudu is sunnah because the main thing after the major impurity, that is ghusl itself. Because in the ayah of Surah An-Nisa, وَلَا جُنُوبًا إِلَّا عَابِرِ سَبِيلٍ حَتَّى يَغْتَسِلُ. حَتَّى تَغْتَسِلُ. And if you are junub, and if you are in major impurity, then you can't enter the mosque until you take bath, until you wash yourself. Except if you are just passing by, illa abri sabi, if you are passing by the mosque, that is another thing which is allowed. But To stay in the mosque while you are in the major impurity, that is not allowed until تغتسل. So here it does not say حتى تتوضأ, until you do wudu, until you do ghusl. So it means ghusl is wajib. And the ayah of Surah Al-Ma'idah as well, وَإِن كُنْتُمْ جُنُبًا فَطَّهَّرُوا. If you are junuban, if you are in major impurity, فَطَّهَّرُوا, then make a lot of purification. And lot of purification here means ghusl. So it shows that the main thing is, which is obligatory, that is ghusl. And sunnah is, according to this hadith, the sunnah is to start with wudu. To start with wudu, and this is why you can wash or you can do wudu in the beginning, apart from your feet. Because feet may be the last thing. After you have finished your ghusl, then you wash your feet. That is one thing, that is the sunnah is to do in the beginning. But nobody from among the scholars have said that you can do it in the end. Wudu in the end. No, nobody has said about that. Wudu in the beginning, that's all right. Now we come to the other issues in this hadith, the issue of takhleel. Takhleel, as far as the head is concerned, it is mentioned in this hadith that you have to do takhleel. You take your fingers and put it in the roots of your hair. This it means takhleel. Yes, that is the part of ghusl. Yes, that is the part of ghusl. Because the word فَطَّهَّرُوا, إِن كُنْتُمْ جُنُبًا فَطَّهَّرُوا. If you are junub, then do a lot of tathir. Lot of tathir. What is lot of tathir? Aisha radiallahu anha has mentioned in lot of tathir one thing which is not mentioned in wudu, and that is takhleel. So it means takhleel is the part of ghusl. But what about takhleel of the beard? Takhleel of the beard, both in wudu and ghusl. As far as, of course, you will find 2 opinions, 3 opinions on all issues. In this issue as well, there is one that takhleel of beard is not required. Takhleel of beard is not required. And the second would be that takhleel of beard is required because when the Prophet ﷺ has said, فَيُخَلِّلُ بِهَا أُصُولَ شَعَرِهِ, he used to do takhleel of the root of his hairs. So these are hairs as well. These are hairs as well. So it means to go in the beard, that is also required. Now, as far as 3 gharafat, 3 handful of water, this 3, the word 3, we can understand that it is only to show that you have to wash yourself. So normally with 1 handful it would not be enough. So it means 3 would be enough. 3 would be enough. But it does not mean that if you got 4 or 5, then it would not be allowed. No. It means that 3 is the minimum. 3 is the minimum, but you can have more than 3. Now the main issue is, which is coming in this hadith, that is the issue of pouring the water on your body. Is it with rubbing or without rubbing? That is the issue. Because in wudu itself, Allah said, فَإِذَا كُنْتُمْ إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ فَاغْسِلُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ وَأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى الْمَرَافِقِ وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ إِلَى الْكَعْبَيْنِ. Now here, that ghusl of the face and till here, till the elbow, that is not possible without using the hand. So you have to use the hand, and you have to rub your hand on your face, on your arms. So that is understandable in wudu. But what about pouring the water after doing your wudu in ghusl? Have you to rub your body as well with your hand, or just pouring the water is enough? That is the issue. Normally, if you nowadays you got the shower, so with shower just water is pouring upon your whole body. So does it mean that you have to rub your body or not? So again, there are two opinions. What is famous out of the opinions of Imam Malik? And the most known opinion of Imam Malik is that this washing is with rubbing. Why? They say that the word iftisal is not like the word pouring the water in Arabic, which is sabba, sabba al-ma'a. For just pouring the water, use another word which is sabba. Sabba al-ma'a, sabba al-ma'a, that is pouring the water. But when you say iftasala, it means that you use your hand as well. That is as far as the language is concerned. And in the very same way, if a person jumps into a pool of water, and he is inside the water, he would not be regarded as the person who has taken full bath. Full bath until he rubs himself. So normally, just jumping into the water, that is not ghusl. They say unless the person stays there for a long time. If it's for a long time, then you will say, all right, this is enough for ghusl. And the very same way, if a lot of water has been poured upon him, lot of water, you can say, oh, he has done ghusl. But normally, just pouring water without rubbing your whole body, that would not be ghusl. This is the opinion of whom? Imam Malik, the most known opinion. The second opinion, which is that pouring water upon the body without rubbing is enough, is valid. Is valid. Because they say even in Arabic language, somebody will say, غَسَلَتْنِ السَّمَاءُ. غَسَلَتْنِ السَّمَاءُ. The heaven has washed me. And it means you were standing in the rainwater. And a lot of rainwater came upon you. You say, oh, غَسَلَتْنِ السَّمَاءُ. The heaven has washed me. It is just pouring water upon you. And then the other evidence is that there are two different things, wudu and ghusl. There are two different things. In wudu, rubbing with your hand, that is required. In ghusl, that is not required. How do you think that is not required? Because of what?
Wudu, in the beginning.
No. In wudu it is required, but in ghusl they say it's not required. How do you understand it from the hadith? This hadith. Yes, the wording here is summa yasubbu ala ra'sihi, and then he pours upon his head. So there is no word dalk. Dalaka is to rub. Dalaka is to rub. There is no dalak here. Only pouring the water is required. So we can say that there are two principles. One for wudu, one for ghusl. For wudu, yes, dalk rubbing is required. For ghusl, dalk rubbing is not required. So you can't say, oh, because it is required in wudu, it should be required in ghusl. You can't say. You can't make an analogy of ghusl upon wudu. Why? Because they are both separate principle. That is one principle, this is another principle. You can make analogy if there is something is principle and the other thing is a branch, just a branch. You can say, oh, if principally it is required, then it should be required in the branch. So qiyas or analogy can be required or can be implied in the branches upon the asl, not between two asl. So that is the second dalil. And the third dalil, they are saying that Prophet ﷺ, in some type of purification, he said to Asma radiallahu ta'ala anha, as far as washing the menses, or washing the blood of the menses upon the clothes, he used these two words, huttihi or urukihi, ukrisihi, or he said urukihi. Ukrisihi, it is just to strike it out. Strike it out, ukrisi. That is, so he required something which is rubbing, which is rubbing. You see? And now as far as urines of a lad is concerned, a very small infant is concerned, the Prophet said just pour water upon it. Did not say rub it. So it means that sometime purification could be done just by pouring. Sometime by pouring with rubbing. So it is differently used. And here the Prophet ﷺ did not say that you have to rub your body. So this is why we would say that in ghusl, just pouring the water is enough. And again, the hadith which is coming later of hadith of Ibn Umar, which is number 60 among the athar, that because it is asar, it is not hadith, it is asar. And he's saying of Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Umar, and in that hadith, in the end, ثُمَّ اغْتَصَلَ وَأَفَاضَ عَلَيْهِ الْمَاءَ. In the end it says, ثُمَّ اغْتَصَلَ, he took bath, وَأَفَاضَ عَلَيْهِ الْمَاءَ. Afada, pour water upon him. There are two words, sabba, afada. So afada means to pour water upon him. So even the hadith of Ibn Umar had just mentioned what? Afada, ifadatul ma. Ifadatul ma. So now, when we come to give preference, to which opinion we should give preference?
Without rubbing.
Huh?
Without rubbing.
Without rubbing. Yes, of course, because the hadith did not mention rubbing. So this is why we say that is what is preferred in this opinion.
The hadith is what afada means to pour.
Pour. Afada also means to pour. Now the other issue which is related to this hadith is, what about intention in both wudu and ghusl? Alright, here there are three opinions. The one, in both wudu and ghusl, niyyah, intention is required. Why? Because niyyah is required in all actions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about niyyah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that in mukhlisina lahu din, to make deen khalis for him. Make deen khalis for him means only intending to do for him. وَعْبُدِ اللَّهَ مُخْلِصًا لَهُ دِينِي. Alaykum assalam. And the famous hadith,
إنما
الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Actions are counted in light of their intentions. وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَّا نَوَى. And every person will get the reward of what he intended. So this is the first opinion, that both wudu and ghusl requires niyyah. So it very clearly means that if a person has jumped into a pool of water, or somebody has pushed him into a pool of water, he was in major impurity. He did not have any intention. He was just pushed into the water, and then he stayed there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then he came out. That ghusl would be considered or not, according to this opinion? This ghusl is valid or not?
No.
It's not valid. Why? Because there is no intention behind it. The second opinion, that is the opinion, the first opinion, that is the opinion of Imam Shafi'i, Imam Ahmad, even Dawud al-Zahiri. The second opinion, which is the opinion of Imam Abu Hanifa.
Sheikh, you say Shafi'i, Imam Ahmad, their opinion was that the ghusl was done without intention. It's not valid.
Not valid without intention. The second would be of Imam. He differentiates between purification with water and purification with something else, like tayammum, which is with the clay. He said that if it is purification with the water, then man is purified, of course, when he washes himself with water, whether he intended or not, he is washed, he is clean. So this is why they say intention is not required if there is a purification with water. And if it is without water like tayammum, then the niyyah is required, because normally the clay is not going to purify you, not so. But when you put your hand on the clay and do like this, so it means that there should be an intention behind it, that you are doing tayammum. So they have differentiated between the two things. Purification by water needs what? intention.
Intention.
Purification without water like tayammum does not need, needs intention. Alright. And the third opinion, which is the opinion of Imam Awza'i, al-Hasan al-Basri, al-Tabi'in, they say both actions like wudu or tayammum, both ghusl, wudu, tayammum, all allowed without niyyah. And they are valid without niyyah.
Whose opinion is that?
Imam Awza'i, Imam al-Hasan. Imam Awza'i says that if a teacher was teaching someone how to do tayammum, he said, see how to do tayammum, alright? And then it was time of prayer, and then he stood for the prayer. With this tayammum, which he taught him, which he was just teaching him, teaching the other person. His prayer is valid. His prayer is valid because niyyah is not required here. And of course, the tayammum is not valid except if water is not available. Suppose the water was not available and he was teaching the other person how to do tayammum. And then at once the prayer was held and they rushed to the prayer. So his prayer would be valid, according to Imam Awza'i. Now they say, those people who say that they have differentiated between wudu and tayammum. In wudu and ghusl, it is not required. It's valid without niyyah as well. Because they say, as far as wudu is concerned, there is no two things, fard and nafl. There is no nafl wudu. Prayer, there is fard, there is nafl, there is fard, there is sunnah. With the intention, you differentiate between fard prayer and sunnah prayer. Before fard intention, you say, this is fard in your heart. And before sunnah, you got intention of sunnah prayer. So you differentiate. So this is why, before the prayer, or before sadaqah, before zakat, everything you need the intention. But in wudu, there is no fard and no sunnah. Whenever you want to pray any prayer, wudu is required before it. Prayer may be nafil prayer may be sunnah prayer, but wudu becomes wajib before it, because you can't pray without wudu. So this is where there is no need for niyyah as far as wudu is concerned. But when we come to tayammum, tayammum is a substitute for wudu. Because wudu purifies by itself with water. And as I said before, tayammum does not purify by itself. It is just clay. So this is why you need niyyah before that. And they got another evidence as well, that as far as removing any dirt from your body, which is called najasa, any dirt, if you want to remove dirt from your body, and if you just remove it either with clay or with water, you are clean. It does not need any intention at all. So in removing the dirt from your body, niyyah is not required. What is required? That you should be clean. So this is in the same way, when you do ghusl after major impurity, you are cleaning yourself from major impurity. This is why niyyah should not be required here. There is another issue which is also related to this one, and that is ghusl on a day of Jumu'ah, on a Friday, because to have a bath before Friday prayer is a sunnah. Every Friday to take bath, that is a sunnah. And if a person was in major impurity on that day, should he take 2 baths or 2 times or just once? Once? Yes, once. That is reasonable. That you should take just one, and Ibn Umar used to do that. That he used to be in major impurity, and that he would have only 1 bath. So it means that according to the majority of the scholars, which are known as Jumhur, 1 bath is enough. The other opinion is that if the person has done ghusl with the intention of Jumu'ah, then it is not valid for the prayer. Why? What is it? Because he was in major impurity. He was in the state of major impurity. Why is it not valid?
Because he hasn't made intention for the Janabah.
But he has washed himself.
Listen.
Because washing or taking bath for Jummah is what it is. Farda Sunnah. Is Sunnah. And taking bath from major impurity, that is Fard. So he has done his Sunnah. So Sunnah can't substitute for Fard. Fard can substitute for Sunnah.
So you should do the Fards instead of Sunnah.
Yes, he should have the intention of Fard.
Because Fards will cover the Sunnah as well.
That's right. But there is another principle of Sharia that al-ibadat تتداخل بعضها في بعض إذا كانت من جنس واحد. That forms of worship which are of the same kind could stand for each other. For example, if a person comes now, like our brother, and he prays 2 rak'ah. 2 rak'ah which is Tahiyatul Masjid. 2 rak'ah, Tahiyatul Masjid. And he wants to pray 2 rak'ah for Maghrib prayer, for example, for Maghrib Sunnah. For Maghrib Sunnah as well. So it would be enough. It would be enough just to pray 2 rak'ah. You can have the intention of Tahiyatul Masjid, you can have the intention of 2 rak'ah Sunnah. So ibadat, they can substitute for each other if they are of the same kind. And in the very same way, ghusl. Ghusl, either you take ghusl from major impurity or ghusl for Jummah, it is the same thing. It is the same thing, so it can stand for each other.
So the intention can just be to make a sunnah ghusl and it can still count for the Jummah.
Because here they have considered the action itself. The action itself, because this is a requirement for the prayer. Itself, it is not a form of worship. To do ghusl is not a form of worship. It is a requirement for a worship. In worship, yes, you differentiate between fard and sunnah in the worship itself. If you have prayed 4 rak'ah with the intention of sunnah, then it can't substitute for Zuhr prayer, for Asr prayer, because that is fard. But as far as purification is concerned, as long as you have purified yourself, whether it is the niyyah of Jumu'ah or not, it can substitute for Janabah, for major impurity.
And this is the correct opinion?
Yes, that is the correct opinion. Now let us move to the next hadith of Aisha, when she said that Prophet ﷺ used to take bath from one utensil which was faraq, when he used to have ghusl from major impurity. Al-faraq. Al-faraq is 3 sa'. Faraq is equal, this utensil of faraq is equal to 3 sa'. Now one handful, how many handfuls for one sa'?
4 mud or something.
4. Mud. This one mud is 1 handful. So, one mud is enough for wudu. And 4 mud becomes 1 sa'. But this ghusl is 3 sa'. He said al-faraq 3 sa'. So 3 sa' means 12 mud. That is what Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha has said. So it means that, first of all, they have mentioned this hadith. Imam Malik has mentioned this hadith, especially about little quantity of water, which is good for ghusl, only because of the opinion of al-Ibadiyya, Khawarij, because Khawarij people, they have appeared at the end of Sayyidina Ali's rule. They have appeared, and among them, Ibadiyya still exists in Oman and other places. Alaykum assalam. They ask for a lot of water. A lot of water for wudu, a lot of water for ghusl. So Imam Malik is mentioning this hadith only to show that a little water is enough. Ghusl, only just 3 sa is enough. Now here there is Imam Sa'id ibn Musayyib. Sa'id ibn Musayyib, he is a tabi. He said to a person who was asking him how much water is enough for ghusl, he said, I got a utensil which got only, which contains only 2 mud of water. 2 mud of water, and I can take bath with it. And the man said, but with 2 mud of water, I can only sniff my nose. Take water and sniff it out. So Sayyid Musayyib said to him, so what do you want me to do with you if Satan is playing with you? What can I do with you? He said, but as you know, I'm a big man. So just tell me, can I use some more water? He said, all right, 3 mud. And I can do it with 2 mud, you can do it with 3 mud. He said, no, 3 mud is not enough. He said, all right, 4 mud, 1 sa. 1 sa. So Sa'id ibn Musayyib is saying just 1 sa of water is enough for ghusl. So if 1 sa is enough for ghusl, then this is why we can say 1 mud should be enough for wudu. Because in Arabia in those days, the water is not in abundance and people could hardly get some water. So this is why they used to use this little water. They can do wudu, they can even have ghusl as well. One container of water which is known as lota. How do you translate lota?
Jug of water. Like a jug.
Like a jug of water?
Bowl of water.
Bowl of water. No, but we in our terminology, lota is just like, yes. Like a jug of water, but with the handle, and a tap with it.
Watering can.
So yes, water can. That's right, water can. Water can, because it is used here for gardening. But this water can is big. The lota is a lot less. So with 1 lota, I remember doing once, because in Arabian traveling, I remember doing ghusl with 1 lota. If there is no more water, then you have to use it. So you can use this amount of water. Now this hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar says, Kana idha ightasala min al-Janabah, the next one, when he used to do ghusl from Janabah, bada fa'afraha ala yadihi al-yumna, he would pour water on his right hand, فَغَسَلَ, he will wash it, ثُمَّ غَسَلَ فَرْجَهُ, then he will wash his private part, ثُمَّ مَضْمَضَ وَاسْتَنْصَرَ, then he would gargle and slip water out, ثُمَّ غَسَلَ وَجْهَهُ, then his face, وَنَضَحَ فِي عَيْنَيْهِ, that is something additional in this hadith. وَنَضَحَ فِي عَيْنَيْهِ, and he pours water in his eyes. وَنَضَحَ, pour water in his eye, inside. ثُمَّ غَسَلَ يَدَهُ الْيُمْنَى, then he will wash his right hand, ثُمَّ الْيُسْرَى, then left hand, means the whole arm. ثُمَّ غَسَلَ رَأْسَهُ, and then he would wash his head. ثُمَّ اغْتَسَلَ, then he will take full bath. وَأَفَاضَ عَلَيْهِ الْمَاءَ, and he will pour water upon it.
Sheikh, can you repeat that again, please?
The hadith.
Please, yeah. How we done it? How we done the ghusl, please?
The main thing is he is mentioning pouring water into the eye. This what we said, this is an odd opinion of Abdullah ibn Umar. Among his odd opinion is this one as well. Because what is needed in wudu is to wash those parts of body outwardly, not inwardly. So he is saying the pouring the water into the eye means pouring inside of the eye as well. So Imam Malik said, he was asked about this hadith, he said, لَيْسَ ذَلِكَ الْأَمْرُ عِنْدَنَا. This is not our practice. This is not our practice. So now Abdullah ibn Umar, he would start with washing his right hand, Then his private part. Alright, he has already washed his hand. So he would gargle, sniff out water from his nose. Then he would wash his face, sprinkling water in his eyes. And then right arm, then left arm, then his head, and then he would pour water upon his whole body. It means feet would be in the end. Feet would be in the end, as I said right in the beginning. Alright, the next asar, number 61, is that of Aisha. And Malik أنه بلغه أن عائشة سئلت عن غسل المرأة من الجنابة فقالت لتحفن على رأسها 3 حفنات من الماء ولتغص رأسها بيديها. Can you translate it?
Yahya related to me from Malik that he had heard that Aisha was asked about how a woman should do ghusl for major ritual impurity. She said she should scoop up water over her head with both hands 3 times and rub the roots of her hair with her hands.
Now this is a very clear refutation of the saying of Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As. Because Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As is another Sahabi. He is known with writing a hadith. And the next person to Abu Huraira in writing of hadith is Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As. So he was asked about the ghusl of a woman, and he said that they should untie all their hairs. What is the word for the hair when they are tied together? Plait. Plait, yes. So he said that they have to untie the plaits. So this hadith of Aisha, that is a refutation of his saying. And she said that she has to just pour 3 حفنات من الماء, 3 handful of water upon her head, and she can وَلْتَضْغَصْ رَأْسَهَا بِيَدَيْهَا, and then she just try to reach the root of the hairs. That is enough. Just to untie them, that is not required. باب واجب الغسل إذا التقى الختانان. حدثني يحيى عن مالك عن ابن شهاب عن سعيد بن مسيب أن عمر الخطاب وعثمان بن عفان وعائشة زوج النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كانوا يقولون إذا مس الختان فقد وجب الغسل. حديث 41 عن مالك عن ابن نضر مولى عمر بن عبيد الله عن أبي سلمة بن عبد الرحمن بن عوف أنه قال سألت عائشة زوج النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ما يوجب الغسل فقالت هل تدري ما مثلك يا أبا سلمة مثل الفروج يسمع الديكة تصرخ فيصرخ معها إذا جاوز الختان الختان فقد وجب الغسل. Now let us hear the hadith of Aisha, and then the next one. وحدثني عن مالك عن يحيى بن سعيد عن سعيد بن مسيب أن أبا موسى الأشعري أتى عائشة زوج النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال لها لقد شق علي اختلاف أصحاب النبي في أمر إني لأعظم أن أستقبلك به. فقالت ما هو؟ ما كنت سائلا عنه أمك فسل عنه. فقال الرجل يصيب أهله ثم يكسل ولا ينزل. فقالت إذا جاوز الختان الختان فقد وجب الغسل. فقال أبو موسى الأشعري لا أسأل عن هذا أحدا بعدك. وحدثني عن مالك عن يحيى بن سعيد عن عبد الله بن كعب مولى عثمان بن عفان أن محمود بن لبيد الأنصاري سأل زيد بن ثابت عن الرجل يصيب أهله ثم يكسل ولا ينزل. فقال زيد يغتسل. فقال له محمود إن أبي بن كعب كان لا يرى الغسل. فقال له زيد بن ثابت إن أبي بن كعب نزع عن ذلك قبل أن يموت. And the last asar is asar of Abdullah ibn Umar كان يقول إذا جاوز الختان الختان فقد وجب الغسل. Now, read the whole.
Obligation to do ghusl when the 2 circumcised parts meet. Yahya related to me from Malik, from Ibn Shihab, from Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib, that Umar ibn al-Khattab and Uthman ibn Affan and Aisha, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, used to say, When the circumcised part touches the circumcised part, ghusl is obligatory. Yahya related to me from Malik, from Abu Nadar, the Mawla of Umar bin Abdullah, that Abu Salama ibn Abdul Rahman ibn Auf related that he had asked Aisha, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what made ghusl obligatory. She said, do you know what you are like, Abu Salama? Are you like a chick when it hears the cocks crowing and so crows with them? When the circumcised part passes the circumcised part, ghusl is obligatory. Yahya related to me from Malik, from Yahya ibn Sa'id, from Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib, that Abu Musa al-Ash'ari came to Aisha, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and said to her, the disagreement of the companions in a matter which I hate to bring before you has distressed me. She said, what is that? You did not ask your mother about it, so ask me. He said, a man penetrates his wife but becomes listless and does not ejaculate. She said, when the circumcised part passes the circumcised part, ghusl is obligatory. Abu Musa added, I shall never ask anyone about this after you. Yahya related to me from Malik, from Yahya ibn Sa'id, from Abdullah ibn Qab, that the Mawla of Uthman ibn Affan, that Mahmud ibn Labid al-Ansari asked Zayd ibn Thabit about a man who penetrated his wife but became listless and did not ejaculate. Zayd ibn Thabit said, he does ghusl. Mahmud said to him, Ubay ibn Ka'b used not to think that ghusl was necessary. But Zayd ibn Thabit said, Ubay ibn Ka'b drew away from that before he died. Yahya related to me from Malik, from Nafi, that Abdullah ibn Umar used to say, when the circumcised part passes the circumcised part, ghusl is obligatory.
Alright, the whole chapter tells only one thing. What is one thing, this one? One issue?
Circumcised part and circumcised part. Ghusl is
Yeah, even man's part touches the woman part, that is al-khitan because it is known as circumcised part. So, ghusl becomes wajib. And it shows that just touching each other in their private part will make ghusl necessary. That's what it means. Whether the man ejaculates or not, and whether there is inzal or no inzal, water comes or not, it does not matter. This is what this chapter tells us. So here, the first hadith of Aisha is a masal khitan khitan. When khitan touches another khitan, faqad wajab al-ghusl. And there is another narration which is إِذَا الْتَقَى الْخِتَانَانِ إِذَا الْتَقَى الْخِتَانَانِ. When two khitan meets each other, then wajab al-ghusl. The second hadith again of Aisha, because the son of Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, his name is Abu Salama, and he is asking this question, how ghusl becomes wajib. And Aisha said to him, do you know what is your example? We are just like a chick, huh? He hears the cocks crowing, so he starts crowing with it. It means that this matter belongs to the adult people. They should ask about it. Why you are asking about it? And then she replied. And the third hadith also Aisha, but here Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, he came to her saying that Sahaba of the Prophet ﷺ are of different opinion in this matter, and I'm shy of asking you in this matter. She said, no, you can ask me anything, you can ask your mother. Then he said that if a person comes near to his wife, ثُمَّ يُكْسِلُ وَلَا يُنْزِلُ, then he does not ejaculate. He becomes lazy. So what? She said, إِذَا جَاوَزَ الْخِتَانُ الْخِتَانُ. Here the word جَاوَزَ. When one circumcised part exceeds the other part, فَقَدْ وَجَبَ الْغُسْلُ. And Abu Musa said, لَا أَسْأَلُ عَنْ هَذَا أَحَدًا بَعْدَكِ. I'm not going to ask this question now anybody else. This is the final answer. And the other hadith is that of Abdullah ibn Ka'b, who is the free slave of Usman. That Mahmud ibn Labid al-Ansari asked Zayd ibn Sabit the same question. He said, Zayd said يغتسل, he should take bath. He said, but Ubay ibn Ka'b says no, he should not. Zayd ibn Thabit told him, what did he say? Zayd ibn Thabit, what did he say to him about Ubay? This hadith. What did he say to him? No. When he said Ubay ibn Ka'b used to say no, there is no ghusl.
He turned back from it before he died, he said.
Yes, before he died, he turned away from his opinion, or he abandoned this opinion. And the hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar is the same thing. إِذَا جَاوَزَ الْخِتَانُ خِتَانُ فَقَدْ وَجَبَ الْغُسْلُ. Now here, what is how the difference of opinion is, because there are two narrations. One is that of Usman. Usman ibn Affan, because the reporter from him is Zayd ibn Khalid. Zayd ibn Khalid al-Juhani, that reporter, he is reporting from Usman. He asked him that if a person got association with his wife and he did not ejaculate, so Usman said he should do wudu. He should just do wudu and pray. That is one hadith. And the other hadith, the same person, Zayd ibn Khalid al-Juhani, says that I heard 5 Sahaba, Usman, Ali, Talha, Zubair, Ubay. I heard 5 Sahaba saying, al-ma'u min al-ma'i, that the Prophet ﷺ said, al-ma'u min al-ma'i, water is from water. Water is from water. And if there is water coming out of you, then you use water, means ghusl. This is what it means. Al-ma'u min al-ma'i. So this is how this difference of opinion has come. Now as far as the first hadith is concerned, hadith of Usman, this hadith they say that it is hadith munkar. Why it becomes munkar? Because it is against all these ahadith. All these ahadith. And especially Usman used to do fatwa, give fatwa of asking the people to do ghusl after having sexual association with your wife. He used to say, oh, you have to do ghusl, whether you ejaculated or not. That is one thing. And in the very same way, the other Ali, Talha, Zubayr, they got this opinion as well. Their fatwa is, yes, you have to do wudu. You have to do ghusl. As far as Ubay is concerned, we know about Ubay that he retracted and he withdrew his opinion before his death. So why this opinion, al-ma'u min al-ma'? That is the answer which is given by Ubay himself. Al-ma'u min al-ma'i kana rukhsatan fi awwal al-Islam, summa nusikha, summa umira bil-ghusl. This was a permission allowed in the beginning of Islam. Later, they were asked to do ghusl. So it means that it was allowed, but it was allowed in the beginning days of Islam. Later, the second commandment abrogated the first commandment. The other meaning, they say that even if you say that it is not abrogated, there is a good meaning of this hadith, al-ma'u min al-ma'i. That al-ma' here it means the first ma', which is ghusl, min al-ma'i, from the water which is al-ihtilam, wet dream. So wet dream, in wet dream, if a person got wet, then he should have ghusl. And if you get up and you don't, and you find some liquid in your clothes, then it is ihtilam. So you have to do ghusl. But if you find nothing, and you just remember, oh, I might have ihtilam, but you got nothing, no impression, then there is no need for ghusl. Ghusl is only required if there is a water from water. So in this way, you don't need to say that this hadith is appropriate. And the third thing, which is very, very interesting to know, saying of Abu Bakr, Umar, Ali, all these 3 caliphs, we say, think which can bring you the punishment of flogging and stoning. the act which can bring you the punishment, this punishment of flogging or stoning to death, is it not going to make it wajib upon you to do ghusl? And it means if a person commits fornication, whether he ejaculated or not, does not matter. There is a punishment for that. If they are unmarried, they are to be flogged 100 times. And if they are married, then they are stoned to death. Isn't that so? So you are stoning a person because of that action. And when it comes to ghusl, you say, oh, did he ejaculate or not? Huh? What is this? So it should be, they should take bath. That is very, very good argument. And this is the same thing which Sayyidina Ali has said when there was this difference of opinion advanced by Muhajirin and Ansar. Muhajirin people used to say, al-ma'u min al-ma'i. And Ansar people used to say, إِذَا مَصَّ الْخِتَانُ الْخِتَانَ فَقَدْ وَجَبَ الْغُسْلُ. So they came to Sayyidina Ali, decide among us who is correct. Sayyidina Ali said that this action which can bring a person either flogging or stoning cannot make him to use just one sa of water. La yujibu sa'an min al-ma'i. Yes, he has to. And he has to do ghusl. So that is what is the answer. So there is another saying of Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha when she said that we used to do it, I used to do it, and the Prophet ﷺ and myself, and we used to have ghusl. And the last thing is that Ubay ibn Ka'b is not going to withdraw his opinion unless it is something really abrogated. If it was not abrogated, he could not have retracted at all. And then we can have this rational type of argument as well, that the prayer can't be valid except with purification before it. Before a purification which is a confirmed purification. Tahara mutayaqqina, a confirmed purification. And if you say, oh, he should do wudu, he's not required to do ghusl. Others are saying, no, he has to do ghusl. Then it means it is not a confirmed purification at all. So you must have a confirmed purification, and that is ghusl in this situation. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi.
Sheikh. I have a question. You know the hadith says, al-khitan, when the two circumcised parts meet. So does that mean the woman, she has to be circumcised?
This is the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that al-khitan is manat makruma, that this is a token of honor for them, a token of honor for them. So it is not wajib upon them, it is a sunnah. It's a sunnah. Yani, is this khitan of the girls not, yani they say, mutilation, not mutilation, just khitan. Khitan is different from mutilation. You have to differentiate between the two. And this practice is known among African Muslims and also in some part of Arabia, but it's not known in subcontinent at all. The subcontinent is not known. India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, nobody knows it. But they know it in Sudan, in Somalia, Egypt, also in Arabia. Yes.
Yeah, Sheikh, when you said, if you do ghusl or you have an intercourse with your wife, you can't pray with that ghusl. Did you say that? Yeah, and if you have intercourse with your wife and you only have a ghusl, just do ghusl bath, and you do wudu, can you pray with that wudu?
Yeah, wudu, which is a part of ghusl.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
We don't do ghusl except for this purpose. Huh? There is no other purpose except that you have to pray.
Just general
You have to pray. When the time of prayer comes, before that you must be clean. You must be before the time of the prayer. But that is the next chapter which is coming, that if it is in the beginning of the night, then it's better for a person to do wudu, just wudu. and go to sleep. That wudu is not for prayer.
What I'm saying is, when you said earlier on, you said if you have a difficulty with your wife and you do ghusl, can you pray with that ghusl that you do your wudu with?
Yes, and if you have done ghusl, if you have done ghusl, including the part of wudu, they are all washed, because in ghusl, you are not going to leave any part of your body. So it means the whole body is washed. The whole body is washed, so you can pray with it. But there is something which you should do, that is gargling and sniffing out water from your nose, which normally you don't do in ghusl. But because it is a part of wudu, you have to do it.
So on the normal ghusl that you do on Friday, don't you still have to do wudu and gargling and all that, isn't it? As part of the wudu.
Yes. And that is enough. Ghusl is enough for wudu. It substitutes for wudu.
Sheikh, another question, please. If you're praying salah, and due to the verse, you have to do prostration. For example, like Surah Iqra, and that's the last verse, do you still have to get up and do ruku'? Or can you do your sujood, and then add your other sujood, and then do tahiyyat, and tashahhud, and then do salam?
And if it is end,
If
if it is end of the verse, and you stand once again, Allahu Akbar, you stand.
You still have to stand even if it's the last verse?
No, you have to stand. You have to stand, because this sujood is, after sujood, rising from sujood is required. Yes. After rising, whether you just read another ayah, or a short surah, or without reading short surah, both options are available. You can straight away say Allahu Akbar and go for wudu. Or you just read another surah, the class, and then say Allahu Akbar.
Sheikh, when we discussed about doing ghusl and you have to rub your body, does that, for example, mean if you were to go to for example, just jump into a swimming pool and you didn't rub your body, would that mean that ghusl is complete? I mean, if you didn't do any sunnah at all, you just wash your body like you would have a normal shower, would that count as ghusl as well? Or does it have to be with the sunnah?
Your head was washed or not?
Yeah, for example, if you just jumped in a swimming pool, would that count as a ghusl as well?
I did not say what is preferred opinion. The preferred opinion is that niyyah is required. The niyyah, intention, is required in wudu and ghusl both. Just jumping into the swimming pool is not enough.
So, Sheikh,
One last thing.
So, Sheikh, if you had to wake up sweating, just saying that before Fajr prayers, is ghusl required as well?
Before Fajr prayer?
Let's say you wake up in a pool of sweat that you've been sweating while you're sleeping. Is ghusl required?
You mean wet dream?
No, sweating.
General sweat.
That's too hot at night. You wake up sweating.
Sweating,
That's sweating.
Sweating, no. Sweating is not something you can break, but yours. You need wudu. Of course you need wudu, because you have slept. So you need wudu, but not ghusl. Not ghusl. But why this ghusl of Friday was recommended a lot? Because people used to do labor work, and then they come sweating, and they are bad smelling. So this is why this Friday ghusl is required. If the same situation happens to you and you think that it starts smelling good, then you should have bath. Only to clean yourself. Just to clean.
So just one last question. When we discussed about Aisha and the reputation she said about the plaiting the hair, was it against Amr ibn Auf or Abdurrahman ibn Auf?
My son is asking this question. Abu Salam. He's questioning about this matter, which is whether he should do wudu or ghusl after having sexual relation. That is the question. In that hadith. This is not, you are not saying Abdurrahman, it's Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As.
Him?
Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As, yes.
He said you have to uncut the hair.
Yes.